So this is going to be an adventure. It's going to be the most I ever dove into something like this, and we'll see how it goes. But if you followed me on Facebook, I really haven't put anything on YouTube, but I've been doing a guy garage pad for a guy, and we run into issues with caliche and whatnot. I've been working on it probably about a month, and run into issues anyhow. We're still working on that, but I've been working on getting the pad done. Had to over dig and recompact for the footers and part of the pad because of caliche, and been doing quite a bit of work here with the 580 case, and working it pretty hard. So this is a 1989 case 580K Construction King 4-wheel drive extend-a-hoe, and I don't know how many hours the machine actually has on it. The engine doesn't have that many hours on it. When I bought it probably 4 years ago, I found it on Facebook Marketplace. I'd been looking for one for working around the property here. Needed to do some drainage work. Needed to keep my driveway. We got a loop driveway here that comes up and loops in front of the house and goes back down that way. Also loops clear around the back of the house. I used it to do all the dirt work for my garage. So anyhow, I'd been looking for one. Found this one on Facebook Marketplace. Talked to the guy on Messenger. Figured out, confirmed it was a 4-wheel drive extend-a-hoe. And when I asked him how many hours, he said 2,600. Well, that's not bad for a 1989. These machines typically like this go for about 30,000 at the Ritchie Brothers auctions, and he was trying to sell it for his dad, and he was asking 19,000. So I told him I wanted to come and look at it. Got down there, looked at it, had him get it up in the air, checked the 4-wheel drive, checked all the pins, and when I climbed up in the cab, I looked at the hour meter, and I asked him, I said, does this hour meter work? And he said, yeah, it just turned over 4. And I said, well, that's not 2,600 hours. I said, that's 262.4 hours. Which made me happy, but I thought, okay, what happened here? So I went ahead and made the deal. Pissed off some other people that was there really wanting it bad. But I was the first one that told him I'd actually come and meet him. And so I had first shot at it. Anyhow, got it home. He'd only run it about 3 years, or excuse me, 3 times in the last 10 years. And so I wanted to go through and change all the filters and that kind of stuff. Well, in the process, I got to looking at the engine tag. And the engine tag said it had a remanufactured engine put in it in 2012. It's got the Cummins 4B, great little engine. So the only thing I can figure is they had to put a remanufactured engine in it, and when they did, they changed the hour meter. Well, I'll show you what I found here. It kind of started putting some things together. If you can read that text, that says this engine cannot idle for more than 5 minutes per Cal Energy Company policy. So that kind of indicates to me, if these older engines, you let them sit and idle, you'll diesel wash the cylinders. And I'm assuming that's what happened. Somebody let it sit around idling for too long. and chucked the old engine in it, and so they put a remanufactured in it. So I give $19,000 for it. I thought that was a hell of a deal. I've had to replace a couple hydraulic cylinders, still got a few leaking, but she's a good old machine. Come to find out, they only, when I was looking for the VIN number and everything to source parts, they only made this model for 2 years, 1988 and 1989. And this video is probably going to be more for the case tractor guys than it is the car guys that watch a lot of my videos. But apparently one of the ways you can tell fairly easily is this not only has the forward and reverse shuttle up on the column, but it also has a 4-speed transmission shifter here, and the bucket controls are here on the dash. And somebody on my Facebook post, when I was trying to figure this out, that was one of the things they said. So anyhow, we just spent probably close to an hour because I've got no hydraulics. The hydraulic pump works off the front of the motor. Now there'll be more videos coming out. Oh. I'll have more videos coming out as I work on this thing. I don't know how well you can see here, but unfortunately my camera only zooms a certain amount. But right down in there is a coupling on the front of the engine, and then the hydraulic pump is down in here. So my neighbor brought his little tractor over through a series of hydraulic jacks, or hydraulic jack blocks, and a couple of big jack stands that are in the doorway. And his little tractor, we was able to get this front bucket and arm assembly up far enough where we could get the safety arm in place. This here now holds against that that cylinder, and up there where it can't come down. So anyhow, we got that with his little tractor. I think we was out of reach and we was fighting it, and we had a chain wrapped around my bucket and hooked to his bucket, and somewhere we must have had one of them in a little bit of a bind because we needed about maybe 2 more inches of lift to get that safety arm down. And something popped. Nothing fell because he was under the bucket of mine good, and we actually broke a chain. So the little tractor's got quite a bit of power. So anyhow, we got that done. I've got a set of manuals that I bought off I don't remember, eBay or Facebook or something like that, in case something like this ever happened. So I got it dug out. I'm doing some looking. I've been doing some research. So I got to get in here. Got to get the counterweight off. I'll go through it and see what all has to come off. It seemed where it said something about that screen. I'm getting this part here off, but that may be on a different model. If I get this counterweight off, yeah, there's some other stuff I can tell has got to come off there. Maybe it's these 2 bolts here, and some of this start coming off. Anyhow, I'll get that figured out. I have almost enough tools. That's one, there's always a silver lining on these kind of things. The silver lining on this one is I'll know how to replace a hydraulic pump when I'm gone, or when I'm done. And I got a couple more tools I got to buy. I've got a good set of 3/4 drive sockets and breaker bars and ratchets and stuff. Shadow, up here, come on. My neighbor's got a 3/4 air gun if I need to borrow. Fortunately, I got my my air compressor all hooked up. Got the 60-gallon compressor with 125 psi. But there's a couple things I need. I need some socket adapters to go from my 1/2 inch impact up to 3/4. So every little project like this seems like you get a few new tools. I've done some research. As I get in there, I'm going to have numerous things to check. The way this couples to the front of the engine. While I'm in there, it's got a separate coupler that then the hydraulic pump mounts to. You'll see it all on video as much as I can. But one of the common problems apparently with this model is, I don't know if they're just a rubber bushing, but they have some kind of rubber, they call it a motor mount. And one of the things that can happen, this being a 98, you know, it's pushing 30 years old, and that rubber, so anyhow, what can happen apparently is those motor mounts will break, the engine drops down a little bit, and then that chews up the splines for the input shaft of the hydraulic pump where it attaches to the front of the motor. I'm hoping that's all it is. I can see my sight glass on my hydraulic tank. It still looks good and clean. Depending on what I find, I'm hoping what I find is that those splines have been chewed up and it's not engaging good. Otherwise, it's going to be more of an ordeal. I'm going to have to pull the filter. I'll cut it open, see what I've got in it. If there's any metal of any kind in there, then I'm going to have to flush the whole system before I put it back in service and new hydraulic fluid. And I believe capacity on this is about 25 gallons, so that could get a little expensive, but that's what we're going to be doing here for the next, oh, I don't know, 3 or 4 videos probably at least. I'm not going to order the part until I actually get in there and get a part number off of it, because there's actually a couple of different parts, or a couple of different part numbers for that pump. Mine I was just looking at, and fortunately I think it's going to be the one that's, I'm going to say the easier one to change out, because one of them has the piping clamps onto the side of the pump with 4 bolts. The other style has threaded connections for the piping, and I guess it can be a bear. But while I'm in there, I'm going to go ahead and look those motor mounts over good. I checked them online. They're about $84 for a set. The serpentine belt, because you'd have to completely remove the connector for the pump again if that ever went out. Like I say, the new, it's a new saddle they call it, I think, for the hydraulic pump that it mounts to. So anything that looks like it needs replaced, any hoses, piping, while I'm in there is going to get it while I've got this down. So like I say, first thing we got to do, we got to get some tools dug out here. That counterweight has to come off. Fortunately, it looks to me like it lines up good enough. I can drop me a couple of slings and a come along or something down, chain through that, get it loosened up, and get it off. Get some other parts off. See just what I've got in there. Well, we just looked in there, but probably gonna have to get my pressure washer over here, give it a good wash down, and get started on it. So like I say, I'm not going to order the pump till I get in there and see which part number it is. Hopefully you guys aren't getting too much wind here. I'm going to step in here out of the wind. I've done some pricing online. One source was $1,600 for just the pump. I found another one, if it's the right part number for mine, through Broken Tractor, is about $1,100. So it's going to be probably a $1,500 bill by the time I'm done. But it's been a good machine. Everything else still seems to be good on it, other than a few cylinder leaks. So that's what the next few videos are going to be. Hopefully this helps some of you. When I looked online, I seen some vague videos about doing this. So hopefully I can produce a video here that if you don't have the manuals like I do, this will help you when you, if you have to go and do something like this. Like say I bought a set of manuals. I got a phase 1 parts catalog. I've got the service manual, and then I've got a little operator's manual. And I want to say I give about $300 for this setup. But I'm glad I have it. So hopefully get done with this series, and it'll help some guys out there that run into some of the same issues. So well, thank you all for coming along. We will have a couple of videos probably in between some of this stuff on the car. Upholstery guy's coming to pick up my stainless that goes on the door cards. Got them all polished up for him the other day. As well as the little stars here. So he's coming to pick them up, but I got a couple of pieces of Dynamat here, another one over there in the box, because the next thing I got to do on this for him is I got to get in there and get the roof headliner bows all out, get that Dynamat put on, and then get these roof bows, the ones that need it trimmed where they fit tight and in place, so at some point he can do the headliner. So thanks for coming along, and enough BSing for right now. Get you guys up to speed and dig out some tools and go to work. So hope you're having a good day. Okay, we're back. You see the time lapse of me there getting the getting that counterweight off. Dogan's in the way. It's not light. I say it's 400 or 500 pounds, easy enough. But I had a big enough socket and breaker bar and cheater pipe here to get those bolts loose. Got it hung down from my boom up there on the come along. Finished taking the bolts out. Gotta go get me a bucket so I can throw all this hardware in it. But that right there is what we're looking for. Still got to take this off. I got to figure out just what all I got to take off there. I may actually have to take the hood off. And if that's the case, it's going to be a little bit difficult by myself. The exhaust pipe is hooked to it. I may see what it takes to take it out. But yeah, there's some more stuff in there that's got to come out to get to that hydraulic pump. I'll work on that a little bit here for the rest of the day. Oh, look at here. Oh. Wonder what those are out of. Huh. This does have the fittings that screw onto the pipe fittings. This one here unbolts from the side of the pump. But my wrench set only goes up to 1 1/8 inches. So I gotta take my wife in tomorrow for a follow-up on her trial back procedure. See how that goes, and I'll just have to swing by Harbor Freight because I know at least a couple of things I need. Like I said, I'm going to get me some adapters from 1/2 up to 3/4. For my sockets. I don't know if I'll need that big one anymore or not. I'll still go buy the adapters. They're not that much. And then they've got I believe it's a 4-piece wrench set. I'll look at the sizes. It goes from 1 1/8 inches up to 1.5 inches or something like that. I'll go ahead and pick that up. But I'm going to work on a couple more little things today here. See what I got to do on this hood. If that's the case, if it's got to come off, I'll see what I got to do for that exhaust pipe to come off. Basically what it does when the hood closes, it sets down over the exhaust and the air cleaner. But I'm kind of finagling my way around here. I may have to loop up over the bucket with a strap, get it where when it comes loose, it swings out under the bucket, and then maybe I can just set it in the back of the side-by-side there, and then take it up, and I could always probably strap it and hang it from my carport up there by the so we'll see. But yep, wasn't too bad so far. I PB blasted those bolts there on the inside before I started taking them apart, and they broke good with just that breaker bar and the cheater pipe. So that's gonna do it for right now. Work on a couple little things here, give me a bucket, get all my hardware in, and probably see you guys in a couple of days. Won't have probably any time to do anything on it tomorrow with her back appointment, so probably going to be Wednesday. So stand by. Well, we're back on the 580 today, as you've seen. Picked up some stuff yesterday in town. I was able to find a 1.5 wrench. So that's what I need on some of those fittings down there. Home Depot, or excuse me, Harbor Freight was running a good deal on a crescent wrench, spud wrench, and it was about $20 cheaper than one of the others I found at an unnamed store. I got out here. I'll get in here and clean a little better now, get to the top of that. I got it sprayed down with Simple Green. That's still about one of the best degreasers I've found. So now I'm going to take a look here. I don't know if I'm going to pull that radiator and that cooler or not. I'm still, there we go. I think it will make it a whole lot easier to get out. I've at least got to pull the shroud and the fan. I'll look this over a little better here. You see, I got the hood off, got it hauled up and sitting up there, and so I got a couple things to do here. I got to without the hood on it now. I've stuffed some rags in my intake there, but we could get rain here any day. You just never know. So I'm going to go ahead and zip tie me a Ziploc bag over the intake and the exhaust, and get those covered up. I did go ahead and remove that exhaust. It's easier to get that hood off. It come out pretty simple. It just had 4 bolts holding it there in the hood. At the very least, my next goal is going to be at least to get this this big metal shroud off of here. And I'm going to have to pull all the bolts back here on the radiator shroud as well. So it's got a, what I'm assuming is, I'll look here, I'm assuming that's a hydraulic cooler, or actually maybe a transmission cooler, but this thing weighs around 75 pounds, so I'm thinking that the more I can get out of my way here, the more I can use my makeshift boom setup here, the easier it's going to be. I filmed that, getting that hood off. It's not that heavy, it's just awkward. And it says, you know, 2 guys can pick it up and take it. Well, I hate to call a neighbor. I'm just one of those guys. After 4 years down here, at the end of the road in the middle of nowhere, I've kind of learned to improvise. And so there's nights I lay awake for several hours thinking, okay, how can I do that? And that little side-by-side worked out good. That worked out actually better than I thought it would. Now it's going to be a little tougher going back on because it's got the struts that attach to these brackets and then go up into it, but we can deal with little things like that. So like I say, my next steps, I'm going to get some Ziploc bags zip tied over my intake and exhaust. I got to take a couple more tie downs up there and put on that hood where I got it set off. And if you notice, I got it set off where it should be fairly easy to load back up by myself and get it brought down here and get it put on when the time comes. But we can get some pretty good winds here at any given time. We had some 40-mile-an-hour winds, or had 25, 30-mile-an-hour winds with 40-mile-an-hour gusts here a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to go up there, get that tied down. Got that good pile of cinder blocks. That table thing, that's actually a step that was for, I believe, somebody's fifth wheel toy hauler. Long story, anyhow. The guy was needing some stuff hauled off. He had a set of slide out supports and those steps, and like I say, where I'm at out here, 60 miles from the nearest town to buy stuff, you kind of hoard whatever you can find. You never know when you need it. So that come in handy for that, but I'll get it tied down. It's a little unstable. I'll get it tied down to those cinder blocks and see where we go from there. So stand by. End of the day here. I think that's where I'm going to end this one. Shop dogs? Shop dogs. What are you doing? Are you ready? Are you hungry? Are you guys hungry? Time to eat? Huh? Yeah, you're hungry, ain't you? So we'll go in, we'll get your dinner, and Dad will get some dinner, and yep, we'll get you some dinner. So, like I say, I think that's where I'm going to end this one. Probably be the end of this video. Neighbor's got a dog fight going. Got the hood all tied down, some cinder blocks on it, or not on it, but on the straps holding the table down and everything. I zip tied Ziploc bags on here. I went ahead and loosened these. I think I'm going to go ahead and pull that support, probably I believe it's transmission cooler and the radiator. I got to pull the fan. I'm going to have to get that serpentine belt off because I got to get I think I showed you this once before, but okay, so there we go. So I got to get clear down in that coupling down in there. Maybe a little better there. Might be able to see the nut or the bolt on it. Nut, bolt, I'm not sure which. And just looking here, that motor mount's pretty squished. Got some bolts back in under there that I got to get to. I think I've got to pull that entire saddle off right there. Mount, whatever you want to call it. Looking back in here, there's a motor mount right there that's pretty squished, so yeah, that's going to have to come out. I'm guessing the one on the other side, yep, it's about the same way. So see what happens with these fittings. This side won't be bad. I bought a wrench that'll fit this one over here. I've hit them real good with PB Blaster. I'll give it another shot tomorrow. I may have to Google tonight and see if AI gives me any tips on getting those loose, because when it came loose, but it was trying to twist the elbow, the piping as well. So, but I'm good on PB Blaster. I got a can, and then I bought a big shot. So I've got I'll have enough PB Blaster. But I don't know if a little heat on those. I don't know if they're an O-ring, hydraulic fitting, or just what they are. But like I say, trying to make this thing as easy as I can for myself. And I just think it's going to be kind of a pain. I got to drain the radiator. That's going to drain the engine probably. But it is what it is. I'll be draining some hydraulics, maybe some transmission fluid, but I believe this takes the same for both, because I use the high trans fluid. But I just believe getting all that stuff off of right there, doing this by myself, is going to give me a lot better. It may take a little while longer. I got to replace that serpentine belt, and believe it or not, I just turned 67 years old, I have never replaced a serpentine belt. Never even took one off. So this will be a new experience for me as well, but I just, while I'm in there, I just replace that belt. I'm assuming it's probably been on there since 2012 when they put, I'm assuming that's when they put this remanufactured engine in. It's dated 2012. Fortunately, that's made things a little better. You know, no really rusted, corroded bolt threads and that kind of stuff, and so it's all coming apart pretty good. But I just think that's going to give me the better shot at making this simple and being able to get to everything, especially with those motor mounts. So I'm going to call it a day. So thank you all for coming along. I have at least a couple more videos on this and see what we can get done. But like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. Let me know if you got any tips and tricks on changing out one of these hydraulic pumps or anything. Anything else I should look for while I've got it all apart. And we'll see you on the next one. Later.